What is a toxic relationship? Good relationships also take work to keep strong. After all, our significant other, our close friends, and even our parents aren't perfect, and they may not see us as perfect either. We have to learn how to accommodate and adapt to their faults and their moods, just as they must learn how to do the same with us. Some relationships, however, are more difficult and require proportionately more work. And some individuals in relationships are going to have more difficulties or more disagreements. But because we value these relationships, we're willing to make the effort it takes to keep them. Many people tolerate bad relationships for all sorts of reasons, maybe due to low self-esteem, the inability to handle our emotions, or maybe because we weren't aware of what's going on. Love should never cost you your peace. It should never cost you your joy. It should never cost you your happiness, and if there's more negative in the situation than positive, something has to change. A toxic relationship occurs when one or both partners prioritize love over affection, trust, and respect in a relationship, because love can cloud our judgment in these other very important areas. For example, if you prioritize the love you get out of a relationship over the respect you're given, you'll tolerate being treated like a doormat. If you prioritize love over trust in the relationship, you'll tolerate lying and cheating. And if you prioritize love over affection in the relationship, you'll tolerate a cold and distant existence in the relationship. A toxic relationship damages self-esteem and drains energy, while a healthy relationship contributes to self-esteem and emotional energy and involves mutual compassion, respect, care, interest in our partner's welfare and growth, and an ability to share control and decision-making. A toxic relationship is characterized by dominance, control, insecurity, and self-centeredness. Any relationship that makes you feel worse rather than better can become toxic. A relationship is toxic when your well-being is threatened in some way, emotionally, psychologically, and even physically. A toxic relationship is one that makes you feel unsupported, misunderstood, demeaned, or attacked. Dr. Lillian Glass, a California-based communication and psychology expert who says she coined the term in her 1995 book Toxic People, defines a toxic relationship as any relationship between people who don't support each other, where there's conflict and one seeks to undermine the other, where there's competition, where there's disrespect and a lack of cohesiveness. Glass says a toxic relationship is consistently unpleasant and draining for the people in it, to the point that negative moments outweigh and outnumber the positive ones. And these relationships don't have to be romantic. Glass says friendly, familial and professional relationships can all be toxic as well. Glass says, sometimes, toxic relationships are simply the result of an imperfect pairing, like two people who both need control, or a sarcastic type dating someone with thin skin. It's just that the combination is wrong. It takes two individuals to have a toxic relationship. People with mental illnesses, such as bipolar disorder, major depression, or even depressive tendencies, may be particularly susceptible to toxic relationships since they are already sensitive to negative emotions. Toxic people can affect anyone. Someone with bipolar disorder who is in the midst of a mixed or depressive episode may have a somewhat weaker grip on emotional stability than others, and that may make that person an easier target for toxic people. Toxic relationships are not limited to romantic relationships. They exist in families, in the workplace, and among friend groups. Some people are simply toxic to be around. They sap your energy with negative behaviors like constant complaining, critical remarks, and overall negativity. Or, they may argue with others constantly, explain why they know better, or point out the flaws of others. Sometimes people act this way toward everyone and are unaware of their effect on others. Other times, people are deliberately rude and hurtful. In these situations, you may feel singled out and targeted through their mean words and actions. And, no matter what you do, you feel like you're never measuring up or good enough. If it is the case with you, then you may want to reevaluate your relationship with that person. They may be causing real damage to your self-esteem and your overall mental health as well as your physical health. In 2016, the University of Michigan study found that stress and negative relationship quality directly affect the cardiovascular system. All of these factors damage your health and may even lead you to develop unhealthy coping behaviors like drinking or emotionally eating in the long term. The toxic partner engages in inappropriate controlling and manipulative behaviors on pretty much a daily basis. Any relationship involving physical violence or substance abuse is by definition extremely toxic and requires immediate intervention and, with very few exceptions, separation of the two partners. A toxic individual behaves the way he or she does essentially for one main reason: he or she must be in complete control and must have all the power in his or her relationship. Toxic relationships are characterized by one partner absolutely insisting on being in control. Why do people behave in toxic ways? People behave in toxic ways due to poor self-esteem rooted in underlying insecurity. Toxic individuals behave the way they do because, at some level, they don't believe they are lovable or that anyone would really willingly want to meet their needs. Their partners stay with toxic individuals because they too believe they are unlovable and that no one would willingly meet their needs. If you want to improve your relationship with a toxic partner, you have to be willing to leave that relationship if nothing changes. If you're unwilling to do so, you have very limited power available to you. Your toxic partner will know ultimately, regardless of what they do, you really won't leave. So before you attempt to confront a toxic partner, make sure your self-esteem and self-confidence are good enough for you to know that you will be alright if they end the relationship with you.